you do for a living, no matter how old are you, no matter where you grew up, I think there is something common with all of us, that we have a desire to be successful. Is there anybody in the room who does not want to be successful? We all do, right? So success can be very different from person to person. The true success should be defined by you and should be specific to you and your goals. Success to some may mean like fancy cars, fancy homes, working with a spouse, having a good teacher, having good grades in the school. Success to me some days is how to make a good mango lassi, how to make good besan barfi, how to make jalebis. Success to me an hour back sitting down here on the table was how can I make the audience quiet down here, they can at least listen to me. So success, thank you. So it's variable, it just depends upon the day and the time. What are we talking about? That is success. I believe success begins with this core principle, and there is no elevator for the success. You have to step on the stairs to be successful. And I give example by saying that just like the 5 Ks we have, the Kacha, Kada, Kirpan, Kanga, and the Ks, I use my 5 principles which I feel that can help you be successful. Again, these are just my thoughts and you can modify based on what you feel are necessary. The 5 things which I feel for the success: number 1 is society. Number 2 is support. Number 3 is sacrifice. Number 4 is setting goals or self-discipline. And number 5, last but not the least, is Sikhism. And I will elaborate some of those as we move along. So as far as the society is concerned, I think you may have heard very well, surround yourself with people who are going to lift you higher. And I want to quote a beautiful line from Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Sahi pyare male, jina milya tera naam chit aave. Can any of the students, college or school students, tell me the meaning of this line? Sahi pyare male, jina milya tera naam chit aave. This means basically, hey Vaheguru, make sure that I am in the company of people throughout the day who make me remember your name. And we do the ardas every single day, don't we? If we don't do that, our elders do that, right? Not just one time, we do multiple times in a day. That please make sure that we are in the right company, right? And why do you think society plays a major role in one's life? And why do you think I chose society as on the top of my list? Even Sikhism, which I should consider that more on the top of the list, but I chose society as the top of the list. What do you think? The reason, because 1/3 of our time we spend outside. Almost 8 hours in our day we are outside, right? And we are dealing with outside people, including our teachers, our friends, whoever you can name that. And 1/3 of our time goes to sleep. Actually more than that. I mean, I used to sleep in medical school or in the school almost 12, 14, 16 hours. So talk about 1/8, I would say maybe 2/3 of the time goes to sleep. So 1/3 of the time is left for you to amuse yourself, playing some games maybe, doing some homework, getting to know your family a little bit more and spending time with them. So you cannot minimize your sleep, right? You do need a sleep. As a neurologist, I can attest that you do need at least 8 hours of sleep. Most of us will need that. So, but you can minimize or at least prioritize the times from other things, like what can you minimize and what can you maximize down here. So I consider myself truly blessed to be here tonight in a group of people who really are dedicated for our culture. You all are. I mean, I think you've shown your dedication to come just over here to make sure that we are congratulating all the graduates or making sure that we are supporting them here tonight. Second thing comes is support. And I can tell you that I have blessings of Vaheguru, my parents, my brother, my sisters and their families, my wife and my two beautiful daughters. I cannot thank them all enough, because they were there with me all the time and every single moment in my life. If any one of the kids believe that you're getting good grades and you can be successful just by your own, I used actually the word first in my speech that you are delusional, but I thought you may not understand what delusional means. It's basically meaning that you are fooling yourself, that if you feel that you are being successful just on your own. You are successful because you have the support of your parents, your surroundings, which means friends and a good society. And I am standing over here in front of you and getting all the credit for which my family should have got the credit, because they were there with me on those tough times in which I was trying to accomplish myself things what today I did, all those. So it's a support system around which makes one a successful person. And please make sure to thank those people appropriately and timely, as you may not sometimes get time to even thank them. My dad, who was a great supporter, mentor and a proud parent, when he heard that I cleared my medical school entrance examination about 30 years back, and actually that was June 1987 when I cleared my medical examination. So unfortunately I can only thank his soul at this time, because he passed away 18 years back. So please make sure that you do take an opportunity to thank people around who are a good source for you. And I do want to thank my mom sitting down here on this table. My sister, my brother-in-law, who actually is next to my dad, who's taken the role as my dad, and I believe he has done a great job with that part. My wife, and my eldest daughter and her son sitting down here. So I cannot thank them enough for all these things. Number 3 is sacrifice. Not just yours as kids, but I believe both you and your family. Difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. I'm sure you all have heard of that, right? I sacrificed those days in my life when my friends were playing cricket outside. Anyone knows cricket? When they were playing cricket outside, or tennis, badminton, playing movies, goofing off, having picnics, and I was stuck in the doors, I made sure that I focused on what I need to do for my examinations. And I think the best thing which I remember is that I made myself sure that I worked the hardest for my medical school entrance. In India and US things are different, and I'll be happy to talk to you personally if you have any question on that part. But I made sure that I cleared the medical examination, and I think once I cleared that, I opened the gates and doors and windows, you name it, and I opened those for myself throughout my life. Obviously, your hard work does not stop over there. You still need to keep moving on with those things, but at least I made sure that once I entered that, now I will work hard to be a doctor, just like Sunny. And I did that over the time. You cannot succeed unless you focus, work hard, and make some sacrifices. You heard of that? No pain, no gain. Right? Don't stop when you are tired. Stop when you are done. Number 4 is setting goals and self-discipline. As Benjamin Mays once said, the tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. So you should have a goal in life. How many in this room have watched the Hindi movie Lakshya? I love watching movies, and this is one of my favorite movies. And there are several reasons why I like this movie. One, this movie is about one person's discovery of his goal in life, and ultimately his goal is fulfilled when he joins the military and helps the military accomplish its goal. This movie shows how crucial is knowing your goal, and I will highly recommend you all, not even kids, adults too, just take a look on this movie. Lakshya. It's available on the YouTube, Netflix, wherever. You should watch that. My goal in life was to become a pilot in the Indian Air Force. you would assume, why in the heck I'm standing here as a neurologist all the way from India if I'm a pilot in the Indian Air Force? No, I did not become. Why is that? There were two major events which happened in my life, which made me switch gears. The number one event was back in June and October of 1984. And I think it needs no announcement or introduction that we just commemorated the 33rd year of Operation Blue Star last week. We had that in June of 1994, and followed by that we had riots after the Indian Prime Minister was assassinated back in October 31st, 1994, right? And following that, there were several thousand Sikhs who were innocently and brutally killed across the India. It makes me very emotional that I wanted to be a pilot in the Indian Air Force that time, and I switched my gears. Sikhism, which teaches us many things besides defending others, right? I was in 9th grade that time when this thing occurred. And at that time, the question came from my heart, why defend this country after those events? I choose to defend patients and their diseases from which they are suffering. I switched my plans to become a doctor. And now this also happened to be in alignment with the wishes of my grandfather, who died 2 years before I was born. My dad always quoted me that my grandfather wanted somebody to be a physician in the family. And I heard him, but didn't pay any damn, like most kids would not, to their parents. And I said, who cares? I just want to be a pilot in the Indian Air Force, and that's it. So I moved on with that part. But that event made me switch my gears. I finished my medical school from New Delhi, India, came to US, became a neurologist, and that was a great moment for me and the proud moment for my whole family that I became a specialist in US. The number 2 event came in the year 2001, right after 9/11. And this actually changed me, and I think that most likely is the reason that I'm standing in front of you, that I'm in the academic medicine at this time, because otherwise I was thinking of just staying in the clinical neurology, doing some private practice, and not bothering with teaching students, residents, any of those things. So while I was getting ready to appear from my oral boards examination in neurology, and that's American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology, 9/11 happened. I was working as an instructor at the time. I was involved in teaching my students, residents, and fellows at one of the major academic institutions, the Chawla University Medical Center. And to me, and most who knew me from academic accomplishments, there was no reason for me to struggle, but I did. The examination was subjective, and I was at the mercy of the examiners in the room. Needless to say, being judged by examiners in the New York City right after 9/11, I did not receive fair treatment. In fact, I felt shattered by the way I was treated, that this could happen to me in the USA. It is always good to learn from the mistakes of others. And in this case, I learned my lesson from my own personal experience, and I decided that I will try to remove the roadblocks from not just for me in my community and from many other kids and many other people who suffer or have suffered just like me. The first thing which I learned in that experience is that one needs to be part of the system to really change the system. So I became an examiner for the same oral boards after I passed my examinations. I followed this by taking on the role of the Neurology Residency Program Director, as Mr. Margo mentioned. Eventually, my involvement extended to various levels at the major neurology organizations. It took me almost 3 years. However, the oral part of the examination, the one with subjectivity, was finally stopped, and I was proud to be part of that. I took my setback as a challenge to excel, and now I stay in academic neurology to make a positive difference. What did you learn from my experience? I think there are a few things as a learning lesson from my experience, from just those 2 events. One thing is that you got to set up a goal. and you have to have a backup plan. If the backup plan does not work, you need to have a second backup plan. There's always need to have a backup to a backup plan, just in case. All right. The second thing, take setbacks as challenges and opportunities to excel. Winners are not those that never fall, but those who never quit. Right? Last but not the least, Sikhism. I think Sikhs we are, as culture, we represent our community, and very rightly said, Khalsa mera roop hai khas. I think there was a reason that an identity of Sikhism was made in 1699, right? So I think it's not a bad idea to maintain your identity as originally began. Let me share that why I said that. As a Sikh, you're just like a sun in the sky who needs no introduction. A major advantage which most cultures and religions in the world don't have, men wear pagris and women have the star, and if not, at least a chunni and a kala. Right? Hear that. How many in this room are ashamed or embarrassed to be Sikhs? If anyone does feel that and need to talk to me in person, I'll be happy to speak to them. Anyone. And how many in this room are proud to be Sikhs? Please give a round of applause to yourself. Bhagat Kuran Singh has always been my major. You can call him as a leader or a true person where I wish I could follow his principles over the time. If Bhagat Kuran Singh were here, and I'm sure he would agree with the old kindergarten saying, leave your space better than you found it. Be the type of person that no matter where you go or where you stay, you should always add value to the lives of those around you. And that's Sikhism. That is Sikhism, right? So whenever I attend professional conferences, I sit in a room of highly accomplished professionals, neurologists who are well recognized locally, nationally, and internationally. In moments like those, I feel proud and humbled to know that I represent my family, culture, and our religion. As we all know, the Defense Minister of Canada, by the way, can any of the fresh graduates tell me the name of the Defense Minister of Canada? Anyone? Any student? Not asking adults here. Sardar Harjit Singh Sajjan, right? He makes us proud all across the world. The Defense Minister, right? The Canadian Defense Minister is a Sikh. I'm also proud that Canadians have 5 turbaned Sikh members of Parliament, and this past week, voters in the United Kingdom elected 2 Sikh members of Parliament. We in the US have some catching up to do, but I'm sure we will get there soon with your help and your accomplishments over the time, right? To me, that is success, that you can make yourself something at some point in life. One point to note in your pursuit of success, a key component of Sikhism is to recognize seva. It does not have to be limited to Gurdwaras, or it does not have to be limited to just on Sundays. You can do anywhere and at any time. When all those events occur all across the world, recently in Manchester, right? Who were recognized the most? Sikhs did the work, right? Our largest kitchen, the Langar kitchen in the world is what? Harmandir Sahib is very well recognized. Who does the work? We do the work over there, right? As a community. So, it is personally rewarding endeavor that will keep you tied to not only your faith, but to all 5 elements of success we just talked about. Success is not all about stars, medals, titles, and getting a variety of degrees. Once again, it is about satisfaction, which you define and pursue on your own. Make sure that you are in the right society. Parents can be your best mentors. Seriously, I really thought growing up that parents, or especially my dad, used to yell at me, may his soul rest in peace. Seriously, I would not have been there where I am at this time if my parents would not have helped me. Now I recognize how much of help, how much of guidance they gave me all throughout my life. So I think they can be your best mentors and support. And have their support and blessings. Continue with your sacrifices. Set up goals. Have 1 or 2 goals where you want to stick to. Keep self-discipline and don't forget to do some seva. This is what I expect from all our kids, and always be proud of the identity you got from Dasham Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib. Right? Lastly, I want to finish by just quoting a famous principle of success mantra. I am what I believe I am. I can be anything I believe I can be. Therefore, I chose to believe that if I try my best in everything I do, I'm going to have a successful and productive life. With this, I'm going to shut up myself. Thank you everyone for your attention.